Hi, everybody. Welcome. As you are
Hi.
logging on and getting situated, feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat, say where you're from and what the mission is of your organization or, where you work. If you know it, if not, that's also okay. Just say hi in the chat so we know who's with us today. We're just letting in people now, and then we're gonna get started and jump in just another minute or two. Feel free to turn on your cameras and show your face and say hi to who's here.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, as we let people that are joining now, I'm gonna launch a quick poll here to see, engage where everyone's at, and we'll come back to this in just a few minutes.
Okay.
Please make sure that you're muted.
How familiar?
Can everybody see the poll?
I cannot see the poll.
I can.
Yeah, I got the poll.
Are you ready to conquer your content?
So for those logging on now and joining us, feel free to say hello in the chat, share where you're from and what the mission is of your organization. If you know, if not, that's also okay.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Welcome.
May I hear him, please? Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
This is Isaac from Nigeria.
Hi, Isaac. How are you?
All right, we'll give another minute for people to introduce and answer a couple of our poll questions here, and then we will get started. You can also mute yourself and say hello in the chat, and then we'll jump in. Hi, everyone. It's so great to see so many people from all over joining us today. We've got lots of different people from different parts of the world. Nice to see you all. All right, we've got a few more people joining. All right. All right, we're gonna get started. I know people will be coming in, but we wanna be really mindful of your time as well. And we've got a really packed few hours waiting for us. So with that in mind, we're gonna jump right in. Welcome everyone, welcome to Good Deeds Day's workshop, Conquer Your Content. We're really pleased to have you guys all with us today. I'm very excited for this learning opportunity. For those of you that are new to Good Deeds Day, Good Deeds Day is a global movement of doing good that takes place all around the world in over 100 countries and brings together people around all different sectors and all different places that are looking to make positive impact in their communities. Our mission is that we help compassionate global change makers who desire living in a better world to take impactful action by providing tools, inspiration, and a global network. Because we believe that every person has the power to create positive change in their community and our world. And I'm Hannah, and together with Kanan, we lead Good Deeds Day. Before I pass it over for his opening remarks, I'd like to just acknowledge the Good Deeds Day team that's here with us today. We've got Layla, Anna, Zoe, and Toba, who you'll be interacting with here through the chat and in the groups. And you've also received emails from everyone in the last few weeks, reminders and things like that. So we'll be getting more acquainted. So thanks to the Good Deeds Day team for putting this on. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Kanan.
Yes. Hi, how are you, everybody? I'm so happy to be here. So happy to see so many people, almost 100 people. We're doing this session a few times to be more respectful of time of different time zones in the world. So I'm so happy to see this amount of people. Like Hannah said, Good Deeds Day is a day that we want to celebrate doing good, bring more people into the circle and inspire people. And one of the ways to inspire people is to show and tell our great stories. We have great initiatives that we're doing. We have great volunteer stories, great stories about people that are doing good. And if we know, and if we know how to tell this story, I think we do a great service to the world of doing good. Telling the story to a few people is great, but telling the story to the whole world or to the whole country or to the whole region, that will make a real impact. And I hope in this session today, you'll get great ideas how to tell the story, and don't be shy. Tell the stories as strong as you can to inspire other people. Tell the story in the most magnificent way that people will connect to you, and tell the story and show how to do good, but also tell the people how to connect you to do the good, because a lot of people will tell that they want to do good and they don't know how or don't know who to call. And this can be a great opportunity for you today to learn these ways. So with the great staff of Good Deeds Day, I hope you'll have a great session today. I wish you the best of luck in this session and again for the whole year and for Good Deeds Day 2022. Thank you for having me and have a good time.
Thank you, Kanan. With that, I'd like to turn this over to Zoe, who is in charge of all communications and marketing at Good Deeds Day, and who will be our leader throughout this workshop and this process. Zoe, you're muted. I just asked to unmute you.
Ay, tanggapin mo muna dyan. Thank you, ne. Abo ka na yan?
Okay. Hey, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Amazing. Hello, my name is Zoe. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Kanan. I'm very, very excited to be here to help us all better conquer our content. I started doing digital marketing at Good Deeds Day in July, and it's been an amazing blast. And I've been working in the digital marketing, social media, storytelling world for the last 8 years. And I've witnessed many of the familiar faces and many of your new faces and all of the amazing work that you're doing. So today, our aim is to really help you zoom out and understand your bigger mission and zoom in to figure out how we can actually communicate our missions and invite people to take actions and grow our audiences and basically just conquer our content. So also, excuse me, I'll be kind of going, I have my notes on one screen, I have the slides on the other screen. So this is the nature of Zoom, but I'm with you today. Feel free to ask any questions and use the chat if you have. Today is all about you and how we can help you and support you to amplify your content. So who's ready to go? Oh, wait, and the poll, by the way, the questions that you answered in the beginning, let's just go over the results. So, okay, how familiar are you with the content planning and marketing? About half, not really. About a quarter of you, somewhat. So, first of all, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And if we don't get to any questions, then just feel free to ask, and if not in this workshop, we'll get to them at some point. Okay. Okay, the next question: are you responsible for, if everyone could just mute themselves, that would be amazing. Are you responsible for the content in your organization? So most of you are, 79% are yes, you're responsible for the content, which means I'm directly speaking to you. For the 21% of you who said no, what we're sharing today is basically we're giving you tools and we're giving you a process. So you can definitely take whatever you can from this workshop and use it for the future. That is the point. We're not giving you the fish. We're leading you to the river, and we're teaching you how to fish, because content and storytelling and social media, it's an ever evolving process, and every day there's something different. Every day there's a new tool. So really by the end of today, we hope you have all of the tools to really go forward, whether it's yourself or whether it's your team or your organization, and really understand content in a more clear way. And yes, mostly everyone is absolutely ready to conquer your content, and only 2% of you have said eek. So, all right, that's a really, really great start. Is everyone ready to go? Can I get some finger wiggles and handshakes, and let's get this party started? Okay, let's do this. So, conquer your content. First of all, today, we're really breaking this down into a 3-step process. Our purpose here, like Hannah and Kanan said, is really to empower organizations to get your stories out and amplify your stories. And that's certainly our mission as well. So the first step is really planning. how do we organize our minds around all of the content, all of the platforms, all of the stories we have to share, all of the work that we have to do, all of the pictures that we have. So we're going to dive into planning and actually get our minds organized around how to set up content and our content planning and our content strategy. Number two, the second phase is producing. This is zooming in from our greater mission and really how do we produce a piece of content, a good piece of content that people share, like, you know, feel connected to and want to come back for. So this is where we'll be really zooming more deeply into actually creating a post. You are all asked to fill out a worksheet and come with a visual or a picture or a photograph. And so this is where we'll be using that inspiration. And the third phase is promoting, right? So once we organize our minds, once we zoom into what we really want to share, then how do we share it out into the world? How do we get our voices out there in the right way? And then at the end, we'll have time for all of your final takeaways, because also, this is to say, you might have heard this information, you might have not have heard this information. This might be very new for you. This might be, you know, been there, done that. But the main thing that we're here is, you know, how do we get our minds organized? How do we create more clarity? And we can all learn from each other here. So also, like I said to my team, if you have something to share and you have a dose of wisdom to share that has worked for you, feel free to raise your hand, feel free to put it in the chat, feel free to pipe up, right? This is all, we're a peer resource sharing. And at the end, we'll have time for also questions and answers. All right, so here we go. So first of all, we're here today to talk about content and how we share our stories. So in my eyes, content is the most modern way that we connect with people, right? And content is what we create or curate to place on our social media platforms. So it's the most modern way to connect with people. We live in a world where we can be in 42 different countries across the world and all be sitting in one place in one time on one little screen and be together and connect. And so this is the power of content, right? How do we bring all of our people to the same screen to connect at one place and one time? And storytelling and stories, they're the most ancient way to connect, right? Back in the day, we all used to gather around the fire and sit and share our stories and take in all of the warmth, right? So how do we bridge these two, this content and this storytelling, to really like meld these worlds of modern and ancient, and just to create different connection points with our different causes, with our different missions, with our different organizations, and with our stories. So also, this is to say that there are lots of different types of content. When we talk about content, this is the list, right? There's ebooks, there's case studies, there's FAQs, there's videos, there's infographics, there's interviews, there's YouTube videos. The list goes on and on and on and on. And the world of content is very overwhelming. So first of all, I want you to say that I've been doing this work for the last 8 years, and it's never going to not be overwhelming, right? The trick and the focus is to bring in, what do we care about? What do we want to focus on? What are the points that are really important to us? What is our mission, and what are the things that people need to know? So for today's workshop and for today's purpose, we're going to focus on the most basic type of content, which is to create a social media post. I know that also you all shared kind of your social media platforms. So today we're going to focus on just a basic social media post and what goes into that. Another thing to share about content is that there's all different kinds, right? So often we can write a post and it maybe doesn't get great engagement, or it gets that one click, or we feel like no one has seen it. But have no fear, because there are all different phases and layers that people connect with us, right? And it's not just one post and done. Actually, it takes one person up to 6 times of seeing the same thing to actually engage, to actually connect, to actually really see it, right? Because the average person gets about at least 5,000 messages per day, right? So what's going to make your post stand out? There's 4 different kinds of posts that exist. And there's 4 different ways that people engage with our content, right? So the first one is awareness. This is when someone first gets to meet you, first sees you as an organization, first understands your mission. And it's simply getting the eyes on your post so people know that you exist. The second phase is interest, right? This is like when someone's really called to interest. Maybe they like our page and they want to see more. They start to comment. Maybe they give us a smiley face, you know? So this is when someone actually gets more interested in our cause and we pull them a little bit closer to what we're doing. The third kind of post when it comes to content is desire. Someone wants to connect. Someone sees what we're doing and they want to get involved. So they definitely like our page. They start to comment, they share, maybe they visit our website to get more information. This is where they really want to get involved and they want to learn more about us. And the fourth kind of post is action. So this is when someone is in, right? They're sharing, they're retweeting, they're visiting our website and they're putting their email in. And they're really ready to connect with our organization and our mission and what we do. Does everyone understand that? Is that clear to everyone? If not, feel free to ask questions in the chat. Okay, so we're ready to kind of dive into our workshop. And I just also want to share that this is going to be a lot of information, right? But again, you can take this forward and take it with you. So whatever you take in today, just trust that that's what you're meant to take in today and understand. And we're always here for questions. And let's get started. So when it comes to planning, this is our first phase, right? This is how we organize our mind. Because we have lots of goals. We know lots of people. Maybe we have lots of volunteers or students or wherever we are. But knowing our goals, number one, right? Because our goals are our big why. We need to know the end, why we want to do what we want to do so that we can work our way back to the beginning. And our goals are kind of like if you think of a target, a dartboard, and you think of us throwing the arrows, right? Then our goals are the dartboard, right? We need to know where we're directing our aim, where we're directing our vision, where our hand is going so we can hit the exact point, okay? So knowing your goals, we ask you that also in one of the questions in follow-up, because the more you really solidify your goals, the more we know where we're going and the less overwhelm we feel around the world, right? Around the world of content. Number 2 in our planning phase is now that we know our goals, we need to focus even deeper, right? So what are the pillars and points that we have to reach our goals, right? What do we really care about? Where should we focus our energy? Where should we focus our time? What are our stories about? What are the trending themes that we're finding in these goals? So that's number 2 of planning, right? Knowing our goals is the macro, it's the zoom out. Number 2, focusing our pillars and points, that's the zoom in. That's when we get really specific about what we do. And we'll dive into each of these a little bit deeper. And number 3 is creating the schedule, right? Because what we make time for is what we have time for. And if we don't have a schedule, things don't very much happen, right? The beauty is that once we do make content planning a part of our routine, then it becomes second nature. And I really recommend, especially if you're here in this workshop, it means that content creation and planning is really important to you and you want to be here. You made time for this workshop, right? So if every month you can take 1 or 2 hours out of your schedule and you can say, I'm dedicating this to content planning, I'm going to sit down and write my schedule for the month, then you have kind of the knowing your goals, the focusing your content, and you can move forward, right? So it's not something that we're just doing every day and on the fly and we have to like kind of remember. It becomes a part of our routine. It becomes a part of our process. And I know, you know, this is October 31st, November 1st. This is the exact time when I sit down with my content calendar and I start to plan, okay, what are we doing for the next month? And we'll go into that as well today. So getting a little bit more focused on our goals. Just a note here, right? There's our big mission. We all mentioned our big mission when we got started. And if we're part of an organization, if we're part of any kind of business, any kind of cause, we have that big mission, right? Our big mission at Good Deeds Day is to empower organizations with resources and tools and a global network to do more good, right? That's our big mission. But now, you know, we also need a marketing mission. We need to know our goals for our social media channels, because it's not going to be that same big mission. So this is when we get even more focused on, you know, what is our goal of social media? What do we need to market so we can communicate our cause in the right way? And so this is just a little graph that I found online. And this is the top 5 goals of any kind of marketer, anyone who creates content or has a content marketing strategy. So we have most people want to increase brand awareness. Increasing brand awareness means, you know, just we want as many people to know about us as possible. Right? We want as many eyes to know our name. We want as many mouths to talk about us as possible. So increasing brand awareness. Number 2, we want sales and lead generation, right? We want people to buy in, basically. We want more volunteers. We want to collect emails so that we have more contacts around the world. And also for many of us, we're not necessarily making sales. We don't have products, right? But we do have things to promote. So for example, even this workshop, you know, we wanted as many people as possible to come to this workshop. We wanted to share this information with as many of you as possible. So we had to collect your emails. That was lead generation. Social marketers' top goals. Number 3 is to increase community engagement. So once we have all of these connections from around the world, we want to actually see these people. We want to share, we want to connect, we want to engage with them, we want to comment, we want to hear from them, we want to know their voices. So increasing community engagement is the likes, the shares, the comments, the reposts that we often, or the groups that we have as well. So this is another main marketer goal. Number 4 is to grow my brand's audience. This is how can we reach more people, right? We have everything that we need, but we want more people to know about us. So how can we just continue to get our reach out there? How can we grow the likes on our Facebook page? How can I grow my Instagram audience? How can I get more views on TikTok? So that's one of the main goals. And the 5th main goal is to increase web traffic. And this is, if we all have a website, we want to direct people straight to our website, because that's where people can really learn more about what we do and who we are, right? We want them to buy in and to visit our website. That's our home, that's our hub. So we use social media as a tool to get people onto our website. And these are all very, very different goals. And as I'm speaking, I also invite you to think about where you are now and what your goals are. Because also the worksheet that you received, actually we can open that now. So I invite you also, we're gonna this is a workshop, right? This isn't just gonna be me talking and lecturing. This is gonna be, we're doing the work, all right? So if you have that worksheet up of what I sent, I think it's called Tova just shared it in the chat. It's called the content planning worksheet. It's the Excel sheet. And you can open that up and you can see on that first page, if anyone's having issues, basically we're each of us are going to go in and really think about what are our goals for now, for today, for the next 3 months, you know, whatever feels right for you. And And on that worksheet, there's an example there. And that first tab, you'll see social media goals. Okay, now everyone for this worksheet should also go into File, make a copy of the worksheet so that it's something that you can work off of. We're going to be working with this worksheet for the whole workshop. So I invite you to open it up, make friends with this Excel sheet, and we're going to be working off of it. So in each tab, I also left you an example, right? So for example, for Good Deeds Day, when it comes to social media goals, goal 1 is brand awareness. Our goal is to make Good Deeds Day a household name. We want everyone to know about Good Deeds Day. So what does that look like in terms of how we share our content and our posts? It means that we want as many people as possible to follow our social channels. And we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, and we're on Instagram. Okay, so that's one of our goals. And for the metrics that matter, it means that these are the things that we look for in order to know that we're achieving our goals, right? So to know that our posts are working, to know that people are becoming more aware of our brand, we look at our Facebook followers and we look at our reach and we look at our audience growth. Goal number 2, as an example, and one of our social media goals is audience engagement. We want to connect with all of the amazing people who are in our network, and we want to share more information. And so every time we get comments and shares and likes, this is our call to action. And this is what matters to us. These are the metrics that matter. So for example, when we see a post that has 50 comments on it, that's an awesome post because it means our audience is engaging with our post, okay? So that's goal number 2. And then goal number 3 is website traffic. We have so many amazing resources, blogs, information on our website that one of our standard goals is to use social media to invite people onto our website, to get people onto our website. And that looks like link clicks, okay? Anyone have any questions about goals? Because for the next few minutes, I'm going to invite you onto the content planning schedule worksheet, each having made your own copy. And I invite you to kind of scroll down in the social media goal list and to fill in your own 3 goals. Okay, so you'll see on the first tab, social media goals, you'll see this example on there. Okay, so you kind of have this example to work off of. And if you scroll down, you can see you have a blank kind of you have a blank table for yourself as well. So you can fill in your goal, you can fill in your call to action, and you can fill in what matters to you. Right, and just take 2 minutes here and really think about your goals. And if it's helpful, you can go back, you can think about, what the typical marketing goals are. Is it brand awareness? Is it lead generation? Is it community engagement? Is it growing my brand's audience? And is it increasing web traffic? Does anyone have any questions? Otherwise, we break for 2 minutes while you each kind of fill in your own document to think about your goals. And I'm not actually, Tova, if you do see any questions in the chat, feel free to let me know.
No questions yet.
Okay.
I'm
So
sure
also just
everybody's hard at work.
okay, good. Also just another way to think of it is, are you looking for your organization? Are you looking to get more donations or volunteers? Are you looking to share more people's stories? Are you looking to position yourself as a thought leader, to inspire people to do good, to share your resources? The more we really fine tune these goals of why we're using social media, the more focus we have and the less overwhelmed we feel. 3 goals have to be integrated. What do you mean integrated, Windra? I invite you to, these are social media goals. So I invite you to come up with 3 different goals. If you have 1 goal that you're focusing on, that's also completely okay. Yeah, you don't have to come up with 3 goals. I think 1 goal is a really great place to start. So if you know that you want to come up with what, like, you're focusing on one specific thing, this is a good place to focus on that one specific thing. And each of the goals should have to do with your organization. And yes, we'll be recording this workshop, so we'll be happy to share it with you as well afterwards. If you're ready to go and you know your goals, feel free to also share them in the chat. Let's hear some of your goals. So the example that I gave about awareness, audience engagement, and website traffic, those are Good Deeds Day goals. You can have totally different goals, but each of those are separate goals, right? If you put them all as one goal, that's when the overwhelm comes, because essentially it's 3 different things. So if you want awareness, that's one goal. If you want engagement, that's another goal. If you want traffic, that's a 3rd goal. Okay.
And to give another example that might you guys might relate to, for instance, if you're offering volunteer programs and you're looking to spread the word, or you're looking for people to sign up and join you, that could be a goal for you. It could be, I want more people, I want more volunteers to join our programs, or I'm looking to spread the message, or we're looking to engage more people in our town or city or country. Those could be goals as well.
100%, you don't have to choose one of these 5 goals. You can also have your own goals, okay? It's just the question here is, why are you on social media?
And for schools, I know many people here are coming from schools and different roles in admin and education. You could also have different goals around spreading news or awareness of certain things, or letting people know about things going on within the school system, or things that are important. So feel free to share with everyone. That could also help people think about what their goals are. Sometimes we're just on social media because we're told be on social media. And as Zoe is asking us to really think critically of what message am I sharing with social media, and what's my goal with that? Why am I here?
Andra, what's a CSO? You can ask a question. Do we want to unmute Andra and get your question?
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry for asking that, but for instance,
Please ask. I love the ask. Go for it.
do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. When, for instance, if I have a goal, like build the capacity, CSOs, it's a civil society organizations, NGOs, non-governmental. So then I have to divide it like our organization, DEMO, has the mission to empower citizens, to promote the democracy through the empowerment of citizens, building the capacity of civil society organizations, and support of volunteering. And through this mission, our organization has 3 main activity programs. So now I'm a bit confused. when you asking to put the 3 goals, I have to divide like empowerment of citizens, building the capacity of civil society organizations, and goal 3, support of volunteering, or I have to choose one part, like let's say building the capacity of CSOs, then refer to your intro, like to express it in as a brand awareness. What I will do as a brand awareness on building the capacity of civil society, then in a goal to as in audience engagement and website traffic.
Okay. Yeah, I
or
understand
what?
your question. So I
Yes.
think I would
I'm so
ask you,
sorry.
no, please don't apologize. I think it's great that you asked, and that's what we're here for, right? This is a workshop, so I really invite your questions. I think this is the time where we take that greater mission, right, to empower citizens, to support volunteers, and we think about why and how we show up online, right? So are you connected with your citizens online, and how can you use the online platform to connect? So do you want to get, I would ask you questions. Do you want to get people to your website? Do you want to share more resources? Do you want to
Yes, sure.
grow
Yeah.
your audience? So those are your mission, right? They become your marketing goals, right? So that's what I would think of. And I do think that each of those things is a separate marketing goal. I would also ask you, what's your priority? You know, if you just want to inspire people to join the organization, or you want to get more, or you want to add 100 volunteers, or you want to like engage an audience, then only you know your priorities. But this is the point to really focus on why you want to be online and what your organization could be doing online to achieve that greater mission. Does that
Thank
answer your
you.
question?
Terrific. Terrific. So I got it. I got it now. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank
Yeah.
you for asking.
For instance, in the case of mine, it's the audience engagement. Get more people, more citizens, more CSOs engaged.
Yes, I would also say that as audience growth, because you want
Yes.
to reach more people, right? So I would
Yes.
also include growth of audience, not just
Oh.
engagement.
Oh. Mm.
Anyone else have any questions? Otherwise, we keep moving. Okay, so we all have, and also, by the way, it's okay if, you know, what you have in your mind isn't absolutely perfect. This is right. We're just going through this process. We're just touching on a lot of different things for you to be able to take all of this information and make it happen for yourself and for your organization. Okay. And also, our Good Deeds Day team is here. Like, we're here for, okay, another hour and 15 minutes. But like, we're here to support the entire process. So this is just the beginning of, you know, how we're going to help you conquer your content. So we'll get to everything, I promise. Okay, so we have our goals. We have 3 goals, and we have an idea of why we want to be on social media and how we can use it. So I invite you to also, as we go through this workshop, we're going to go from that macro and we're going to zoom into the micro. So I do invite you to kind of just take one of those goals for now that is really, really important to you, that you really want to prioritize, that is important today or tomorrow, and keep that with you for now. Okay, phase 2 of planning, part 2 of planning. Now that we went from our greater mission, we now have our more direct social media goals. And now the question is, what makes you different than all of the other organizations that are doing good or educating, right? And that's when we get introduced to the pillars. Now, pillars are broad topics and themes that create the foundation of your content marketing. So these are the things that we actually post about. These are the things that inspire us. These are the things that we want to connect with our audience about. So these are the pillars. So in general, for any brand, for any business, for any organization, for any school, however, and even a personal brand can play with these pillars. So these are the very general pillars, okay? So for example, these pillars can relate to anyone, right? So for example, brand is what makes our brand special. Why are we different than anyone else? Why are we unique? What do we have to offer that no one else is offering? What gap do we fill in the market, right? Number 2 is authority. How do we show up as a leader in this field, in our cause, in our mission? How do we become a thought leader or position ourselves as a thought leader to gain authority in how what we're doing is what is good, what you should know about, what you can connect to. A third pillar is community. And this is community that, again, has to do with growing our audience. It's all about engagement. It's sharing personal stories. It's connecting with our community on the ground. So this has to do with everything that's not at all about us and what we want, but it's about our audience and our community and what they want and what they need and what they come to us for. Number 4 pillar is inspiration. So, you know, this is the pillar that really is, you know, the quotes and the inspiring videos, and it's like the touching emotional stories that really inspires people to go out and do good and also come back and connect, right? And then there's the promotional pillar, which is, you know, if you do have an event like such as this one, if you are looking for more volunteers, if you have a program that you want people to attend, or if you want to do fundraising for any kind of specific event or program, then it would fall under the promotional pillar. So in general, in the world of content, these are the kind of posts that and themes that we want to bring to our content, okay? And then from here, we go one step further. We dive one step deeper to what is your point? What is your focus? What conversations do you want to bring to the table? And I really, in the way that I think and I plan, I really think about this as if we were all sitting at a dinner table together, what are the things that you really, really, really want us to talk about? What are the things that you really, really, really want us to know? What is the information and the value that you have to offer to the world that no one else can offer? Okay, so that's why over here we have different focuses, because we want to know, what's your point? Why are you online? What are you sharing? So for example, what that looks like in content planning world, and this is also another example from Good Deeds Day, is our points of focus are, you can see it here, leadership and corporate social responsibility, education and resources, taking action and volunteering, partner spotlights and Good Deeds Day news, and then we have inspiration and ideas. So when we think about, before even diving into our content planning process or content planning, this is one of the first phases of the process. And this helps us get really, really focused on what is important for us to share online. So you'll see, you know, lots of different leadership opportunities, lots of good business blog posts. You'll see us sharing lots of kits and tools and templates and resources online. You'll see us inviting you to take action, to do a good deed, to go reach out to your local organizations, to volunteer in some way, shape, or form. So we share a lot of information about how to volunteer, how to take care of your volunteers, the benefits of volunteering. We share a lot of our partners and their spotlights and their stories and their photos and a lot of the good things that are happening within the world of Good Deeds Day and our over 100 countries that we work with. And our fifth pillar is inspiration and ideas. And that's just, you know, sharing more and more good, the quotes, the blog posts, the joy of working in this network. Does anyone have any questions about general pillars and points? Because next up, I'm going to invite you to go ahead back to your worksheet. And now that we have your social media goals, you're going to go to the next tab, which is called pillars. Okay, and you're going to see an example of what I just showed you. This is an example of Good Deeds Day, right? We have our points of focus. These are the 5 things that we really care about to post. Okay, these are our themes. These are our keywords. These are our topics that we want to bring to the table. And if you scroll down, just forget about kind of all of the other text for now. If you scroll down just a little bit on that tab, you can see your turn and you can see your points of focus. And I invite you to take a minute or two and think about, what are your themes? What are your keywords? What are your dinner table conversations that you want to have with us? What really, really matters to you? I invite you to fill in at least 5. You can do like 3 to start if that feels right for you. But I invite you to think of at least 5 overall, and just start filling them in on that document. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about your pillars or your points? And if you're ready, you can also share your points in the chat box, because we'd love to see what it is you want to focus on. All right, how's everyone doing on the pillars and the points? All right, so we're going to keep moving forward. If you want to drop your pillars and your themes into the chat, that'd be awesome, because I'd love to know what you're all focusing on and what your mission is. Okay, next up is our schedule, right? And this is kind of the who, what, when, where, and how we're going to plan our content. Now, today, we're just going to touch the tip of this, right? And we're going to dive in deeper into one specific post, but the schedule, and you can see kind of, if you go to, oh, you know what, can I share? Oh, I share it here. Okay. So the schedule it's really important because it kind of gives us the whole framework for how we show up online and how we plan our content. And so, for example, and you'll see this also on the worksheet that you have. You'll see this under the sample calendar, and then you have a blank calendar under the November 21 calendar, okay? So if you go to sample calendar, this is an example of what the Good Deeds Day content plan looks like. Okay, and you'll see that for the month, we have our theme of the week. We have on Mondays and Thursdays, we post a blog post. On Tuesday, we're going to promote about the content workshop for the next day. On Wednesdays, we spotlight our partners. On Fridays, we share a good idea. We also have different quotes, and we have Veterans Day coming up. And so you can really see kind of like the initial layout of what content that we have available, what we want to share, and how we just kind of start to map out the process. So if you go, we added a sample calendar to your document, as well as a tab for notable days. So you'll see the notable days are just a list of all the international important days that exist. And we also include, obviously, you know, for Good Deeds Day, we'll have April 3rd on there because that's the actual Good Deeds Day. So what are the notable days for you as well? So that's a place to kind of map out your year, map out your schedule, map out when things are going on and what's going on so that you could know when you need to post about them. For example, doing this workshop, we planned this workshop 4 months ago. You know, and already 2 months ago, we knew that 6 weeks ahead of time, we were going to start posting about the content workshop. So when we lay out the big picture of what needs to be done, and when we start, you know, from the goal and work our way back, it gives us a really, really clear perspective on what's coming up ahead. So if you know you have an event coming up, if you know you have a program coming up, then you can think about the date of that program and just work your way back. And what we're going to do here is actually we're going to go back to the pillars tab, and you're going to scroll up and you're going to see the example of Good Deeds Day. Now, under each pillar and point we have is really the beginning brainstorm of sharing your content. So I just want to go back here, right? So we see under leadership and corporate social responsibility, what are the actual, we dive in even deeper into those points. What are the things that we can think about that we want to talk about that really matter? Okay, so we want to share the 5 do's and don'ts of managing volunteers, why every business needs a volunteer program. So these are just kind of the invitation for the next minute for each of you is to choose one pillar, one point of focus, and to kind of brainstorm what content you want to share around that, okay? And this is not something that necessarily you need to create yourself, but it's just a starting point of what are the things you want to be sharing around education and resources. What are the things that you want to be sharing about your organization? And this is a way to go even deeper into that point, that your points of focus, and help you really start building up what you're going to put on your content calendar. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask in the chat. Otherwise, you have the next minute to start filling in the pillars tab underneath each of your focus points. Andra, the authority pillar is how we choose to position ourselves as leaders in our field or industry. So it's why people should be connecting with us and why we are the ones to share that information. All right. And I invite you to continue working on this part of the document, because this is going to be like your meat, right? This is going to help you figure out what kind of content to create, what kind of content to look for, what are the things that you really want to focus on, and help you really plan your month out, okay? And this doesn't also have to be something that you do alone. You could do this with your team. You could do this with your organizations. You could ask your students, what information do you want to hear? What value can we provide? You know, it doesn't have to be something that's just you. You can also, you know, take a look at the people who are also kind of set up in your industry, in your field, see what kind of content they're posting. What do you have to say about that? What do you have to comment about that? And you can just brainstorm different ideas, and this is where you throw them. Does that make sense for everyone? Okay, so we have some people putting pillars in the chat. So education of the vulnerable orphans, women empowerment, recruitment of more volunteers, youth leadership seminar. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful pillars. So this document that you have, this is essentially like your golden grail of your content planning process. And so I know it might be a lot to take in now, but you have this document to work with, and you have us to ask questions to. So we're not actually going to start filling in the schedule now. What we're going to do, well, maybe before, we're going to move to phase 2 very shortly, but maybe we just received a lot of information. So let's take a minute and let's exhale, and maybe let's just shake out our hands, just give ourselves a shake, and just like, there's a lot of information and there's a lot of stuff, especially when we're hitting Excel sheets and content and pillars and planning. And before we really start to zone in, let's just shake it all out. If anyone has any questions, if anyone wants to make some noise or just let it go. I can't see you guys, so I just see myself doing silly things. I hope everyone else is doing silly things too. Okay, so maybe if we're ready to move forward, everyone can share a thumbs up, and my team can let me know that we're getting some thumbs up and we're ready to move forward. Because this is the juice, okay? We've kind of done the bread and the tomato and the lettuce, but this is the meat, or it's the vegan burger if that's where you're going. All right, do we have some thumbs up, people? You can feel free to keep sharing your pillars in the chat. All right, now let's keep moving forward. So now each of you were also asked to, amazing, okay, I see some thumbs up. Each of you were asked to bring a visual, bring a photo, bring something that kind of speaks to your work. So I invite you to kind of pull that up on your screen where you are now, because we're gonna be really diving in to the workshop. Now, we've talked about our great mission. We've went into our marketing goals. So we know why we're posting online. We've gotten deeper into our pillars and our points. So we know kind of what we want to talk about and the themes of what we want to talk about. And now we want to go even deeper and bring it to a post. What are we actually going to post? How does our big mission become one social media post? So now we're actually I'm gonna ask you guys to stay with me, and we're gonna choose our visual, right? And if you feel like you want to change up your visual, that's okay. It doesn't need to be the one that you sent us or the one that you originally thought of. And you're gonna choose the visual. You're gonna choose a point, right? So we just went through our pillars and our points. So you're gonna choose the point that you want to focus on as well, that also relates to the visual. Okay. Everyone has their visual. Everyone has kind of the theme that the visual falls under, right? And now we're going to just take it one step further, and we're going to go back to our goals and think about, okay, what do we really want people to do? What is the action that we want them to take? Do we want them to comment? Do we want them to share? Do we want them to go visit our website and learn more? Do we just want to inspire them? Do we want them to just know who we are and what we're doing? So these are all things that we're going to be working with for the next 15 minutes. Cool? All right. And like I just said, we went from our all-encompassing mission, zoning into choosing a pillar, zoning into that point of focus, what we want to talk about, and zoning in even further into our call to action. And for every social media post, for every piece of content to create, you can go through this process to make sure that it's something that's worthy of your time and energy, right? Because some things are really cool to post, and we think that we need to do all of the things and everything, but that's not true. When we know our mission, when we know what we want, our goals, what we want to focus on, and the action that we want people to take, this is when our social media posts become really intentional and really accurate and really aligned with what it is we feel called to share. So before we actually go in and share our stories and get into the meat or the vegan burger, what we're going to do is actually think about what goes into a good social media post, right? And we're going to go back to the content storytelling, because every good post has some aspects of story into it. And when you think about a good story, everyone knows what a good story is, right? We all know that that good story is the one that pulls you in and says, oh, I want to learn more, and I connect to that, and I relate to that, and that makes me feel something, and I want more. You know, we all know that good storyteller of our lives that just pulls us in. And that's what we want to do in an online way. Now, obviously, I wish I could be sitting around the fire with all of you giving this workshop, sharing stories, etc. But we have to also adapt and connect to how people relate today, right? And I know that social media, I have a very love-hate relationship with social media. But the moment I realized that it really is a power tool for content storytelling and content creation and content sharing, and that it empowers people all over the world to do good, it became a power tool instead of something that was very overwhelming and unmanageable. So when we think about what we want to share and the post that we want to write and what's important to us, these are all the things. This is how we serve our communities. This is how we serve our audiences, and this is how we serve the world, right? Because we're all here because we have a greater mission, a greater purpose. So this is also just an invitation to keep this in mind as we go forward. Every good story has the start, a middle, and an end. Every good story has an emotional aspect, right? A good story really touches you and makes you feel something. It makes you sense something deeper than just, you know, something that you read and scroll by. A good story is relatable. It almost sounds like conversational. You know, it's something that everyone can relate to. It's a universal idea, something that can touch every heart, every human on the planet. A good story also has a good visual. So video is hands down the most powerful content tool of today, but a good quality picture, a high quality picture is amazing. And in general, in the art of storytelling, even if you don't have a visual, you can use this to really invite everyone should feel like they're in the story. So it's also really sharing the senses, setting the scene, making people feel like they are somehow there in this story. That is also an art if you don't have a visual. And every story should also be expansive. It should inspire people to do something or move somewhere or think differently or expand their perspective. It should make people feel, you know, like wide-eyed, you know, like that kind of expansive. Okay, how we doing, people? Are we ready to share our stories? Because before we really dive in and get into the nitty-gritty of writing, I would love for each of us to really, we're going to do some breakout rooms. You'll be with about three, you'll be broken into 3 people, and everyone has 2 minutes to share their story. And your story is going to be based on the visual that you chose. Okay, why you chose this visual, why is it meaningful for you and your work? How does it make you feel? And why do people need to know about it? And if you have the opportunity to share the visual, you can, but it's not necessary, because really the invitation here again is to just kind of be inspired by your own visual, by your own work, and by your own mission, and just get out what you feel is important to share. Okay, so this is going to be part A of this exercise. Everyone will have about 1.5 minutes to share their story, and then we'll come back together and we'll dive even deeper. Does anyone have any questions? So you're going to be separated into groups of 3. Everyone has 1.5 minutes to share. The person that is sharing is just sharing. The other 2 people are just listening, and we'll move on from there. Cool. Can I get some finger shakes? All right. And tech support, can you open up the breakout rooms? And when you see the breakout rooms pop up, you could just click join room. Does anyone have any questions before we break out? Okay, everyone, welcome back. How was your breakout rooms? How was sharing your story? I know maybe some of you, there was some confusion. Some people didn't join your rooms. That's okay. We're still getting into the meat of things. We're still diving just deeper and deeper into this content planning strategy. So even if you had 1 minute to yourself to think about sharing your story, that's also all right. And amazing. We're going to keep moving forward. Okay, so now we kind of got the chance to connect with our visual, connect with our story, and just share it out as if we're in conversation. This is one of the very important parts, I think, about writing content or sharing content, is speaking as if you were in conversation with people, right? So there is specific marketing language that is known to connect with people from around the world. But really, I think where content storytelling is going is really just, we're all humans behind these screens, and people want to know that. So people want the authenticity, they want the transparency, they want to know who's sharing and who's behind the screen. So I think today that will be our superpower. The more we can really tune into our own voice and share our stories in a very conversational, relatable way, no matter what it is you have to share. So next step in this process is going to be to actually sit down and write our post. So in a minute, we're going to get started. But before we actually sit down and write the post, I just want to have you think about what it is you chose to share about your story. and really, again, getting more and more and more focused and to the point when we think about what we want to share in a post. These are the 3 questions that I always think about before even starting to write. What do you need your audience to know? Why do they need to know it? And what action do you want them to take? So even just keep those questions in mind. And I want to show you also some examples of actually what makes a good social media post before we actually go into writing. So this is an example of a post of this workshop. You can see our goal was to get more signups. Our pillar, the pillar that was promotional, and we focused on the pillar of events that falls under Good Deeds Day News. You can see that it includes a nice visual, an opening question, which is a great way to engage with your audience. A very, very short and easy to read description, emojis and lists. They really like set up the way to clarify. And then we have a call to action and a tracking link. So you can see that this post is something that we were using for the last month. It was one of our best performing posts, and you could see that, you know, short, sweet, to the point, and the basics, the DNA of this kind of example. Post number 2. This goal was to spotlight our partner, and it falls under the pillar of brand and community. So that's another thing to say, right? That not every post is going to fall directly under one pillar or one point, right? It's all blended. Especially if we're under for our organizational purposes, a post can have more than one pillar. So this includes a headline that we use every time we have Good Deeds Day Partner Spotlight. It has like personalized visuals, it has emojis, it has a hashtag, a universal hashtag, World Cleanup Day. And it has like a short bit of story involved, right? We shared 6 organizations collaborated with one mission, clean up Lake Malawi as part of World Cleanup Day, Go Team Malawi. And we tagged our partners. So this is another point. We tagged Good Deeds Day Malawi and World Cleanup Day as like to really kind of amplify their story and the connection as well. So this is an example of post number 2. And then we have example number 3. Our goal was just to really inspire and engage with our audience. This falls under this pillar of inspiration and community. And you can see that it includes a really bright and friendly visual, that it also includes that global hashtag trend. This is a really, really good tool to use. When everyone's posting the same hashtag, it's really powerful. And you can see it's super relatable text. We all love our teachers. It's a thank you post. And it has that call to action and that call to engage. Tag a teacher you know and love. This was also a post that performed really, really well for us because everybody knows a teacher that they know and love. So these are just examples of our kind of social media posts. And now I invite you to take the next 2 minutes and take in all of the information that you just received. Take a look at your visual that you're going to share on social media. And just take a moment and write down your story. And you can think about, you know, again, these questions. What do you want? What do you need people to know? Why do they need to know it? And what action do you want them to take? And start really formulating your post. And you can also use the social media template that you have. If you go to the tab on the worksheet and you go to November posts, November 21 posts, you'll see again that this is going even deeper into that storytelling process. We have kind of a whole menu and breakdown of that who, what, when, where, how. So the date we're going to post, the theme that we're posting, where we're posting, the content that we're posting, and this is a place for you to actually write the post. So you'll see also in the first line, there's an example, there's the link, And you can begin to just write one post, choose one photo, choose one action that you want people to take. I'm going to be quiet for the next minute and a half while you do this. If anyone has any questions, you're more than welcome to put it in the chat. So everyone here is writing their post. And if you're ready to go, you can also share your post in the chat. Okay, I see Sempath has a question about using visuals and disrespecting a person's privacy. So just as a very, very important note, I think if we're taking pictures of people, we should always ask if it's okay to be used online. If it's a group photo, again, more acceptable. But I definitely think that respecting people's personal space is important. So as a practice, to always get permission from that person and consent from that person to use their personal photo online. So whether that's sending them a message and saying, hey, do you mind if I use this beautiful shot of you? And giving them the chance to do that is a very great practice. Thank you for asking that question. All right, take 30 more seconds to finish up your post. And then we're going to come back together and we're actually going to do some feedback. Okay, Mordecai, I see you sharing some pictures. Oh, Isaac. Yeah, I would love for you if you could share also your text, and maybe we can use you as an example for some feedback if you don't mind me calling you out. All right, and let's start finishing up this exercise. If you have a post to share, let's copy and paste it into the chat. I would love to see your social media posts, and please know it does not need to be perfect. it's a first draft, and we can always start with a first draft. All we need to start with is a first draft. So if you want to post your social post in the chat, I'd love to see it. And as we're together, maybe we can also get 1 or 2 volunteers who want feedback now about their visual and their post. Anyone wants to raise your hand, that would be great.
So this is what is the text that goes with the photo? So that's what we're talking about when we say post. So if anyone wants to share the text and the photo, we can take a look together.
If no one wants to, do we have any volunteers? Anyone want to raise their hand to get feedback? If not, or either way, I invite you all to also know that after this workshop, you can share your visual and your post with me, and I'll happily give you one-on-one feedback if you share it in a Google Doc with me. So also know that, this isn't the only time to receive feedback, and our goal here is to really help you get more precise and refine your language around your story. So if you want to use the opportunity now, let's do it. We have at least one person who wants to share and volunteer to get live feedback. Any hand raises? And my general rule is if your heart is beating, okay, so do we have any takers? Any hands raised?
It looks like we have some text from Isaac from Mordecai Care Foundation.
Okay. Text from Isaac. And do we have a picture from Isaac that we can put on the screen? Okay, Isaac, let's read your text. I update my audience of the organization of the reports of the activities of the organization for response's sake, for their encouragement. They need to know because some of them are oh, wait, this isn't the text. This isn't your social post. This is what you want to do. Okay. Do you have a social media post that you want to share that you can get feedback on?
Zoe, I see we have also from user. I don't know who user is, but we have both a photo and a text.
Amazing. Yeah.
photo pulled up. This is from someone that is the user, last one here.
Okay. User, do you have a name? Anyway, thank you for volunteering and for sharing your words and this gorgeous, gorgeous picture. So let's see what user has to say. Posterity preservation starts from engaging them in the future we want them to feature. Culture as a way of life needs to catch them young approach. Join us to celebrate our culture. Beautiful. And so as a way of feedback, what I might consider shifting in this post is really sharing what's going on in this picture. It's clear that culture is important. So what's happening within the culture? What culture is it that you can share with us so that we know what's going on? You know, what kind of outfits, who made these outfits, what tradition is happening, who are these little amazing children, and what are they doing? So share, when you think about, you know, when you throw up a visual with, you know, 3 children, we want to know what they're doing. Where are they? I see that something's happening in the background. So maybe telling us a scene of what's going on, giving us a setting of, you know, what's happening in the background. So I would say something like, you know, and I would also, you know, if you know their names, if not, you don't have to, but I would also say, you know, these 3 names are enjoying a traditional celebration of X, Y, and Z at the annual gathering of X, Y, and Z. So really inviting the audience into this exact moment, right? So clearly, culture for young people is really, really important. And there's some kind of celebration of culture going on. I just don't know what that is. So the more focused that you can be and specific that you can be around what is happening in this moment with these boys, I would love to hear about it. It's a really, really great start. I'm sorry, I don't know your name, user. Oh, Adetola. Okay, from Nigeria. So I would love to know more about what's going on here. Which piece of Nigerian culture is this? What is the tradition that is happening? What do these hats mean? I would love to know more. If you want to unmute yourself, if you can do that, I'd be happy to hear back from you as well. And if not, that's also okay. Are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Hello, Adetola. So tell us a little bit more about what's going on in this picture.
This is African Child Day celebration going on in Yoruba setting here. The children were wearing Yoruba attire to showcase their culture. This is Yoruba culture. And they've just danced cultural dance to entertain their audience. And we want other culture to emulate same by teaching them, because there is a adage that say if you don't teach them, you don't blame them. So for prosperity to be kept, they still need to be engaged right away. So this is just the extract from celebration of African Child Day that we had.
It's so beautiful. And actually just by you sharing that, it super connected me to this story, right? And you could start off that post with, if you don't teach them, well, they don't learn, or whatever that quote was that you just said, which was magical.
If you don't teach them, you don't blame them.
If you don't teach them, you don't. I love that. So good. If you don't teach them, you don't blame them. And maybe telling us in the post, like, this is a moment after these 3 young ones did their traditional dance at our African dance tradition, you know, like, and really try to bring us into this moment of this picture, of this snap You know, I see one of them as holding something. What is he holding?
That
And
is
sharing,
oxtail. Okay.
what is
It's
it?
all is holding oxtail. Oxtail. That is symbol of oxtail. That is what the traditional leader here, the Obas, that's what they hold as a sign of being happy, and it's a symbolic to the Yoruba culture here.
It's amazing. I want to know so much more. And it's a really, really beautiful picture, and it sounds like an amazing tradition. I think the more specific you can be about what's happening here, the more powerful the story of this post can be. So if you want to, if you want to take like another shot and you want to send it to me after this workshop, I'm happy to give you more specific workshop. And I'm super excited to hear more about this story. It's a really beautiful picture. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Adetola, for speaking up and for sharing, and for telling us a little bit more about your tradition as well. I think that's the purpose and the point of these workshops, and this workshop specifically, and content marketing in general, is to really figure out how we can share our stories. And the more specific we can be with the details that we share, the more powerful and the more connected we can be as well. Hold on, I'm just going to reshare. Okay, the post. And all right, we have about 10 minutes left. So before we finish, I just want to share phase 3 of content planning, right? We talked about planning. We dove deeper into the publishing. And I also want to invite each of you again. We don't have that much time for feedback, but if each of you wants to share your document with me, wants to share your post and your visual with me after this workshop, I'm more than happy to give you personalized feedback. Let's say the inbox is open for the next week, so use it. And yeah, Tova will share my email in the chat as well. And just as we have 10 minutes left of our time together, first of all, let's just shake it out again before phase 3. You guys have done a lot of work today. We've went from our big mission. We've talked about our goals and our pillars and our points and our schedule. We've just dove even deeper into sharing our story and then writing our story and getting really clear about what we want to share and why we want to share it and the action that we want people to take. And now the question is, how do we share it out? How do we actually put it out into the world? Okay. And so I know that most of us are working with an organic content marketing strategy, which means we don't really have a budget to market the posts and put money in Facebook, and that's okay. Basically, for the last 8 years of my marketing world, like I've also only worked with organic strategies. So all of these tips that I'm going to give you right now, it's all based on minimal funding, let's say. And again, the more focused we can be on where we want to show up and how we want to show up and what we're talking about, the less overwhelming it all is, because we know, again, that target board, and we have the arrow that we want to shoot, right? So when it comes to promoting and sharing out our posts, first of all, post in the right place, okay? We don't need to be on every single social media channel. We need to be where our audience is. So, you know, for right now, there's like TikTok is like this big blown up thing, but if your audience is on Facebook, just focus on Facebook. So there's this idea that we need to be everywhere, but we don't. I would just focus on 1, maybe 2 platforms at most to get started, and just focus your energy there. Idea number 2 is to use quality visuals. So I think that it really is important to get good photographs, because like a picture can be 1,000 words, right? We didn't have to we didn't have to know what Abatola was going to say, but we were already pulled into this beautiful picture, right? We wanted to know what's going to happen. So that's going to invite us to read those words and learn more. So a visual is really the power that pulls people in to reading that post and to engaging and getting more connected to begin with. Next point, jump on the trending topics. The beauty of this social media is that it's alive all of the time, 24 hours of the day, and it allows us to have these big global conversations. So if you see something important is happening and it's happening in your field and you feel like you need to join the conversation, do it. Use the hashtag, get involved, use your voice. You don't have, everything doesn't have to be planned. That the power of social media is that we can jump into the global conversation whenever we see it happening. Point number 4 is to map your content sources. So oftentimes, you know, we feel like we need to create all of our own content, but that's not necessarily the case. So that's why when we go back to our pillars and points, we can think about what our resources are to collect our content, and we can start creating a content bank. So if you know that a specific online publication or magazine always has good blog posts that you feel you want to share with your audience, you know, that's like a content resource. So know where you collect content. Know if you're having a volunteer meeting and you want to take a picture of everyone, and this is like a way to create content, know that that's a content source when you come together. If you want to do a video campaign and you just want your volunteers to send in a 30-second clip of them smiling or holding up a Good Deeds Day sign, map your volunteers as a content resource. Next point, use relevant hashtags. Like you saw kind of in the examples of the social posts, it's another way to jump on a global trend. So using relevant hashtags, it's a way to get people, get new users into your field if people still are like searching through hashtags. Next point is to tag relevant partners in your post, right? Because when we tag other people, it expands our reach. It expands our capacity to reach more people. Use audience insights. This means every social media platform has a way to look at those metrics, has a way to measure whether a post has done good. So use that. You know, we see that most of our audience is online on Facebook on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. So that means I'm going to make sure to 100% post on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. So often we are, you know, just thinking that we need to post on social media all the time, all day. But no, it's not the case. The more we can know where our audience is and when they're online, the more we can be very, very focused about what and when we post. Next point is to create micro content. This means that every one post can become 2 posts, 3 posts, 4 posts. You can use kind of just this one major post and recreate it in different ways. So for example, even when it comes to Good Deeds Day, I write every post for Facebook, and then I mold it for Twitter or LinkedIn or Instagram. And so each of those platforms has their own voice and has their own kind of language. So you start with one post and then you can recreate it. And, you know, if you think that, you know, one post is kind of one and done, not everyone, I think maybe only 10% of your audience actually has access to every post. So you can also use that post again. Don't think that it's just one and done, but really the content that you already have, use it, repurpose it, recreate it, renovate it. Don't think that it means that it makes your content any less, right? It actually just helps you focus and refine what you really care about and what you're really going towards at the end of the day. Next point is to be active and post in groups. So groups are already kind of an engaging way. If you're active in those groups, if people get to know you, people connect with people. right? People connect with missions as well, but first it starts with a point of a person. So get involved in groups, be active, engage with other posts, and that also opens the doors for you to share your stories in these groups and also get more connections and engage and enhance your reach. Next up is collaborate with your partners, interact with your network, and appreciate the one. So this is also saying that sometimes we feel like we're going to put our social media post out and all that comes back is that one comment, but really that one comment is one person that has seen your post and is engaging. So really respond, engage back, appreciate every person, every click, every like, and know that, you know, eventually it's going to grow. Just stay consistent and keep showing up online and people will show up too. For don'ts, just really I'm gonna quickly run through this list. Don't be everywhere. Like I said, we don't need to be on the 100 social media platforms. We just need to choose one, maybe two. Don't be someone else. Use your voice. Your voice is special. Your perspective is special. So use your place in the world and your role in the world to fill the gaps. Don't try to be something else. Don't think that once is enough. Like I said, you can repurpose those posts. Don't post and run. So if you post something engaging or something that you're expecting people to engage with, don't just post it and let it go. Come back to it, visit it, engage with it, respond to your people. Don't copy and paste. What works for another person might not work for you. So when we see what is working for other people, we can get inspired by them, but make sure to make it your own. Don't rush the process. So now actually, no, I'm very much rushing the process, but really content planning, it can be done a whole year ahead of time. So really the intention is to create time and space in your schedule now, plan at least a month ahead, 3 months ahead, 6 months ahead, and eventually you'll really get the hang and it will become a part of your routine and just a part of your process. Don't focus on yourself, right? It's not really about you or your voice. It's about your organizational mission and it's about your audience. It's about how to connect with your audience because what we want to share and what others need to hear isn't necessarily always going to be the same. So our job as content creators is to find the place to meet them in the middle. Don't be inconsistent. Even if you choose one day a week to show up every day that week. And then people will know that Monday that your organization is going to show up online and have an inspiring post. Don't speak to everyone. Again, you want to be very, very focused on who you're speaking to, who you're talking to, who your audience is. And finally, don't get discouraged because this is really a growing, developing, advancing world. And it's always a learning process. So there's always more to learn. There's always more to know. What's really important is to just, again, stay in your lane, stay focused on your goals, on your mission, and the actions that you want to invite people to do, and you're good to go. Next steps, you have all of the tools that you need. You have your content calendar to fill in, you have your schedule to fill in, you have the worksheet to really choose your platforms, you have visuals to choose from, and now all you need to do is just write your posts and share it out. And again, if you want to share with me, my email address is right below. You can very much feel free to share with me. And now I know that we're 2 minutes over, so I don't want to take any more of your time, but I'll share that I'll be here for the next few minutes to take questions and answers. And if 1 or 2 people want to share just what you took from this workshop, I would love to hear some voices if you have some time. For anyone that needs to run now, thank you so much for showing up and for being here and for wanting to conquer your content with us. Hannah's also going to throw up a poll. So if you just want to answer a few questions so we can gauge how helpful this workshop was for you, what you might want more of, what you might want less of, how we can continue to support your conquering the content process and really helping to amplify your stories and your missions and your dreams and how you are helping the world. That's our mission. So that's what we're here for. So does we have 1 or 2 people who want to share? I would love to hear some voices because I feel like I've just been staring at a couple of screens and I would love to hear some more voices. And if you need to clock out, just make sure to answer these 3 questions. Or 4 questions, sorry.
So do you want to close down the presentation and open it up?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Oh, no, I can see everyone. Okay, does anyone want to share? You can also share in the chat what your takeaway was.
Does anyone want to unmute themselves and share? And also the poll is anonymous. So just so you know, feel free to let us know your thoughts, because we are planning more workshops in the future, and we'd love to hear if you are interested in more of them, or if there's something in this one that you particularly liked or didn't like, because we are repeating it a few more times this week. So I'd love to hear your thoughts.
And also, if there's something that you could have used more time or space with in terms of more of a deep dive, also feel free to share that, because that will also help us figure out what resources and tools we can help you with as well. I really hope to read more of your story. Oh, I see some hands. Let's hear some people. I don't know how to unmute you. Tech team.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Hello, Isaac, right?
Yes. Thank you so
Hello.
much. Thank you so much, Zoe. I'll first of all like to appreciate the Good Deed International team for organizing this workshop. It's been amazing and awesome. I've learned so much and I've gained so much. So I want to appreciate your effort in putting this presentation and the workshop together. I really appreciate the Good Deed Team International. You've done a great work for us. Let me quickly go straight to what I want to say here. When you talk about this content, the most modern way to connect to our people, especially all over the world, and it is our story that will connect many people to us and many other things. The question I want to ask is this. Before the content, it is the organization that have the resources to do a particular activity or a kind of a project. It is during the project that the organization cover the event, and they were able to take some of the pictures into different internet or into different channels. I'm looking up to the Good Deed International team. Couldn't they have a kind of a platform where most of us that are partnering with them, are collaborating with them, could raise funds from different people who have already know the Good Deed? Because one of the major challenges that the COVID-19 have on so many organizations, most especially from Nigeria, is the economic. It really affected the economic situation, and there is no much fund to really execute project. So I'm thinking if Good Deed International could establish a forum where some of us that are partnering and collaborating with them could raise funds internationally, because many people does not know me from this Nigeria, if not because Good Deed. I've been known in Nigeria because of Good Deed now. And so for Good Deed to really help us, I'm looking for I'm trying to suggest if they can create a platform for many of us that are collaborating with them presently, so that international world could know us, because Good Deed International will serve as a kind of a referral of many of us, and many of us will be able to be accepted and approved, basically because of some of our work that we have done in the time past. This is just my suggestion and observation. And like you said, that the story we are sharing is the most ancient way to connect. Yes, story. I will also suggest that if this kind of a workshop could be twice in a year, because what you don't know, you cannot give it out. I want to tell you what I have gained, what I have learned. I cannot use my word to describe them. I have learned so much, and I've been able to, increase my intellectual property in terms of the, putting my content anywhere. So this is just my little contribution. Once again, I want to appreciate the Good Deed team. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Isaac, for sharing. And in terms of an international platform, well, Hannah, I think that question is more for you, but I mean, our goal, especially with this kind of workshop, is to join all of those worlds, right? And to share, share our resources and have our peers share their resources. So let's say that this is the beginning of really trying to bring those threads together. And we hope to do more workshops like this. And Hannah, do you have anything to add in terms of Isaac's question? Okay.
No, nothing to add. Just thank you for the, we're always looking for ways to connect people and ideas, things like that. So as Zoe said, this is how we're looking to bring people together and to share messages around. But thank you for the suggestions and for sharing.
All right, so it's 10 after. I know that we've already gone, 85 of you are still here. This is awesome. But I think we've gone over time. We'll read all of your feedback. If anyone wants to share, again, your feedback with me specifically, please use me as a resource for the next week to get feedback on your posts. I'm really, really happy to really go one-on-one and answer your stories. Make sure to answer the poll. 4 very simple questions. We'll also send you an email with some follow-up stuff. And we really appreciate you showing up and wanting to conquer your content. And I know it could be very, very overwhelming, and there's a lot of information that was thrown at you today. So let it settle in, let it integrate, and also just, again, from that big overwhelming mission, just focusing in on that one post. I invite you to, even after this workshop, just dive a little bit deeper, and feel free to be in touch with us. And team, Hannah, anything else to add in the farewell?
Thanks everyone for coming, for being part of the workshop. Hope this was valuable. I know we covered a lot of topics and we went a little bit fast and for some people in certain places. So we're going to be sharing this recording after. So feel free to watch the parts that you really want to repeat and hear again. And use Zoe. She's a phenomenal resource. She's doing an amazing job with Good Deeds Day. I think this is a wonderful gift she's giving for you guys' social media. So please use her this week. Share your worksheet with her. Any questions you have. I know some things are more understandable than others. Maybe you want more help with your pillars. Maybe it's about perfecting your post. So let us know and be in touch with Zoe and we're happy to help. So thank you guys again for coming and looking forward to seeing you at the next one.
Thanks everyone. Have a beautiful day and conquer on.